Good evening, everybody. It's lovely to see you all online right now, and looking forward to this session. I will give you my introduction through my story as I go through this slide. I am very honored to be here this evening. I don't live far away from Reading, so Reading is where I take my children. They have cool shopping centers, so that's a bit of my local knowledge for those that don't know where Reading is or dialing from outside the country. I'm Faith Ruto, we've already mentioned. Some of you might be wondering, Ruto, are you related to the Kenyan president? And I would say no. My husband is Kenyan, but I'm originally from Uganda. So it's a pleasure to be with you this evening. First of all, I want to say that I see all of you as leaders, and I always say that because my background is in empowering individuals to be the leaders that they are. You don't need a title to call yourself a leader, and I think once you realize in your career that you are the leader, then you are the CEO of navigating these changes and ensuring that your career plan and it's something that you are leading, and you're being proactive in how you lead your career. So it's very important as we're setting this in that we agree is a bit of a contracting that you are a leader, because without you leading your career or being proactive, you will simply be reacting to what the environment or your employer or that is coming your way. So it's very important that we have that agreement that yes, you are a leader indeed. So who am I and what do I want to share with you today? My story begins in Uganda. I grew up in a small village in northern Uganda. I absolutely loved my childhood. I had lots of cousins, and it was it was very peaceful and very enjoyable. But later on in late 80s, we had rebels that came to our village, and my transition journey, or should I say, the uncertainty of my life began from a very young age, where we were forced out of our home and we had to relocate to towns. And then later on in the early 90s, my mother came to the UK and I joined her. So for me, change has been something that was a force upon me from a very young age. But also, I then saw change when I started my corporate career. So I worked for Shell in 2002 to 2014. And mostly I was in tech. So I was in aviation, marine, lubricants, and a lot of my roles were global. So even though I was physically based in London, a lot of my projects were Europe or globally. So I was really in charge of ensuring that we were standardizing our business processes, but also policies across the organization. With that, then brought impact on people. So I saw firsthand what it was like to optimize the organization, but also the impact, the human impact. And that in itself led me to start being very curious about, how does change affect us? Do we react to change? Do we be defensive against change? When I say change, I mean organizational change. And that piqued my interest, and that led to me really changing career completely unplanned. I moved from working in tech and change management, marketing for Shell, to setting up my own company 10 years ago. So I'm the founder of my company. It's called Transformation 21st. And really, the vision that I have for my organization is that it's about helping people navigate the challenges that we face in the 21st century. Now, obviously, being a Black woman, I have that challenge, additional challenge layer there. And I'm sure for you as Black professionals, it's not just navigating the changes within the organization or the environment that you find yourself in. You then have the racial lens as well, and discrimination or biases that comes with that. So it's for me, my story of that started in Uganda, being forced to change, to change my location and where my family lived, to then finding myself in an organization where I felt a sense of calling to become a coach, led me to changing my career. And then as I became, my own boss, I retrain, and I retrain as an executive coach, a speaker, and an author. But the roles that I don't talk about or you don't see on my LinkedIn is that I'm a wife. I've been with my husband for 22 years, and I'm a mother of two. My children are now teenage years, and I'm also learning now as an individual the changes that are being thrust upon me as a mom. It's completely, unexpected, and so therefore when we talk about change or transition, I want you to think about it's not just that you're thinking about changing your role. Sometimes the transition that you experience as a human being it's to do with your physical location, some changes in your family, changes, in your in your role as a wife or husband, a brother, a sister. There will be changes that you go through, and some of this we don't talk about because it's not a professional change, but actually they can change who you are and how you show up in the world. So I've mentioned already, I have an executive MBA from Imperial Business School, and a degree in business and IT. And overall, what I want you to leave here with is to remind yourself that you can't be the change that the world needs, right? You can be the change in your space, the space that you're occupying. And I want you to lead your life through, with faith, not fear. That's my mantra. Live your life with faith, not fear. And faith, I mean, not in a religious sense, but it can mean that too if you're a religious person, but really faith in the sense of have hope, because we're living in a world which is full of negativity. So be that light in your own life, but also in the life of others. That's my very long introduction. So when we think about transitions, career transitions, what is driving this career, these transitions? So I'm talking from experience of being a coach. I've coached lots of people in the UK and globally. And as we all know now, the challenges that are facing businesses and leaders is really the technological advancement. So we talk about AI, robotics all the time, the geopolitical tensions. I mean, you don't need to watch the news now to know what is happening, but we know that that tension is there, and that is affecting businesses and is affecting leaders. And then obviously there's the workforce dynamics, right? So some of you here on the call, you've just started your career maybe, or you might be on your second role, or maybe you haven't started your career where you really want to be. You're still navigating those challenges and trying to work out what are your home in terms of the skills or the passion that you have or the purpose that you have. So there's a lot of changes within the workforce, not just to do with the generational, in terms of we have multiple generational within a team, but there is also the challenges of individuals trying to find where they belong in the teams. And then obviously the biggest challenges facing leaders and businesses are the climate, the extreme weather, right? The climate resilience. So those are factors that are external to us and therefore could create changes that you as an individual might face in your career. So what do we see then? So I think that from my experience as a coach now for over 10 years, I see that career transition is really now the new normal. Gone are the days where you have a job for life. Gone are the days that you set up a business and then you just produce that product or that service. You have to continue to evolve and to transform so that you can catch up with technology, but also with the changing needs of consumers and your clients. So really see the career transition as an adventure, as something that's exciting, but also it's a new normal. It's very uncomfortable. People don't like it because it has implications. If you are, if change is done to you, for example, you've been made redundant or you're not finding your ideal job, so therefore you don't have any form of income, it is very stressful and it's not a pleasant experience. So I don't think people put themselves in positions like that easily, but you can find yourself in those situations. So moving forward then, what are we talking about when we think about being a leader and how to navigate these challenges? So the stats are there that as we now navigate this challenging environment, individually, you need to be prepared and you need to be ready for anything. What does that mean? It means that starting from your mindset, you need to be prepared that your career that you have, you will have to evolve, you'll have to transform, you'll have to be upskilling continuously. Don't get comfortable and think that, okay, you've reached the destination of your career. That is not, unfortunately, the truth. The truth is that you need to be prepared as a leader for anything that will happen, that the world will throw at you, or the business world will throw at you. So what does that mean then? So we talked about this session. The purpose of the session is for me to equip you with some competencies and skills or things that I know that will help you as a Black professional and a Black leader. And I like to call this my 9 core competencies. There are lots of competencies that you need to have. There are things that you need to have in place already, and I hope you have them in place. Things like, having a mentor, having a coach, having a sponsor. Those are things that you can have. Each organization will have their own core competencies, right? But the one that I have seen consistent for leaders, and especially now leaders of today or professionals of today, are these 9. So the first one is about having principle where you operate from a place of being ethical and having sustainable leadership. What does that mean? It means that you are thinking of what you're doing and where you're working to be aligned with who you are as a person. If you're a person of faith, make sure that that's how you are leading or how you're living your life. So the idea that you have to be authentic when you go into the workplace is very important, because we know when you're authentic, you can actually you can be the best that you can operate from a place of being the best person, right, that you are. So make sure that you feel safe where you are to be the authentic version of yourself. Strategic agility and resilience. So this is really about, as a leader, as an individual, you're constantly thinking and acting, as a strategic person, but also you have resilience. What does that mean? It means you are somebody that you're looking after your well-being. We talk about your health is your wealth, right? Without having that resilience to bounce back from challenges, to navigate changes in the workplace or in your businesses, it's really going to be really difficult for you to navigate the environment that we're working in. Be comfortable making decisions under uncertain times or uncertainty. Obviously, it means you need to assess your own risk, how your level of risk taking, but it's just get comfortable not having the complete picture. And that can be really unnerving, because our education system teaches us that we need to get things right, and that we can't fail. But actually, when we are dealing with uncertainty and we're dealing with, as Black professional, sometimes being put in positions where we have no experience, just have the ability to make decisions under uncertainty. So not having to wait that you have all the boxes ticked, but actually being comfortable, but also have advisor. If you're in a situation which is very new to you, make sure that you have advisor, people that can give you recommendations, that you can practice what you want to say to them before you have to deliver. Be a visionary. Visionary thinking is so important. I think a lot of times as Black professionals, and I'm going to speak from my own experience, we have been through a lot of trauma in the workplace, that sometimes we have negative, we're quite negative, and you can be quite negative, and you can be very reflective and cautious about things that you have gone through. And that in itself can hold you back, right? So being a visionary thinker, it means that you are positive. When you think about your work or the business or things that you're doing, you have positive outlook, and you always think that you hope for the best and you plan for the best, because when you are coming from that place, you are more able to succeed, but also you are able to see clearly. Whereas if you're constantly replaying the tape of the negative experience you've had or the challenges that you've had as a Black professional, you are really living in the past. And I think that's the key here, is try and think for yourself. What are the narratives that you're telling yourself? What are some of the voices that you hear that could be impacting how you're showing up in the world today? I think that's really, really important, that you have that mindset to say, yes, I'm a visionary person. I think about the future. I have planned for the future. And sometimes when you're doing things that are not working, don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to stop, right? If something you've been pursuing is not bringing you the fruit of your labor, or it's not, it feels extremely difficult, and you actually are losing the hope, try and reassess your goals again and think, okay, is this the right thing that I should be doing? Right? So being a visionary thinker, it goes beyond just surviving, and just keep, putting your head down. No, it means that you have to actually think beyond the role that you're in, or beyond your circumstance, right? So try and plan your career, for the long term. Collaborative leadership. So you're not going to succeed by yourself. You can try. I tried, I'm a very ambitious person. I did try that. But I realized, for example, when I was in Shell, I was really ambitious and I wanted to be sponsored for an MBA program, right? And I thought to myself, if I keep delivering what the bosses want, they will see how great I am and they'll just pay the money, right, for me to go and do my MBA. But I realized that at that point, it was not what the organization need. So even I was supplying them with business case and the reason why they would sponsor me, it didn't make any sense to them, right? So as a collaborative leader or an individual, try and think about your own development plan. Try and see who can help you in your organization. Don't keep it a secret. Some people say, oh, if you have a dream, don't share it. Well, I'm the opposite. If you have a dream, you have to share it with somebody. Find your trusted advisor, and collaborate. Do share that. Data-driven decision making. So this is just more in your day-to-day work. Be guided by the data and the facts that you have. This is very important as a Black professional. Again, don't allow what you have gone through or what others are experiencing to affect you and who you are as a person, right? The data here is your own experience, but also it's about making information that is sound and not just based on, something that that doesn't have any facts or doesn't have any basis. Technological literacy, this is obviously for everybody. So tell me in the chat, I will check in a minute, how many of you are using AI in your day-to-day basis, or playing around with ChatGPT? Do share that in the comment. It's so important, technological literacy, that we all have this. And I think that this is where the generational gap might appear, because you're all assuming here, much younger than me, and therefore you would have grown up with technology just as a normal part of your life, right? You've grown up with technology, but keep learning, keep advancing, and don't slow down. Change management. So when you're going through a transition in your career, regardless of why that transition is taking place, you're going to be experiencing change. So learn how to manage change for yourself, but also for the people that are in your ecosystem. So managing change might be communication. So learn to communicate to the people that you have within your network. If you're, for example, between jobs, who knows about that, right? Communicate. Use your profile on LinkedIn. Put the badge on. I know sometimes people don't want to do that because you feel like, oh, I'm going to be judged. I don't want to tell people that I'm open to work. But managing change is just about adapting as fast as you can. We talk about being really agile and just being flexible and resilience. Those are all kind of buzzwords, but actually in practice, it just means that recognizing the season that you're in is really super important. And then my last kind of 9 competency, I've got a few letters here for you. IQ, so obviously intelligence. EQ, emotional intelligence. And then a new one that you probably not have heard of, and maybe you could have, but I don't know. But this is positive intelligence. And the idea behind positive intelligence is that when we are going through a transition, so career transition, life transition, you need to be in the best place within yourself to navigate those changes or those challenges. And positive intelligence is really about looking at how you know your nature. So how you normally self-sabotage yourself. Okay. What do I mean by that? So take, for example, if you say to yourself, I am an high achieving individual. So I'm an high achiever. Back from school, I had to get top grades, university top grades, right? You find yourself in a new environment and you're putting the pressure on yourself. I need to succeed. I must succeed. That can help you, but it can also hinder you, Because remember, when you are starting out, whether that's a new employment or a new career you're changing, there's going to be a learning curve, right? So the idea behind positive intelligence is there's a set of questions. You do the questions, and then it comes up with a result. And that result is an insight to how you behave, but also it's an insight on how you can change your behavior. Okay. So for everybody that's, dialed in, I do have a free assessment that I will share with you. And, you can perform the assessment and see where you are on this PQ. Okay. So before I'll continue because this is being recorded. So I think I'll continue with my presentation, and then we have a Q&A after. Okay. So I've talked about the 9 competency, right? Which of these resonate with you? Which of these do you think, oh, that's a new development area for me? When you're going through your transition, which of these will you find really helpful for you? Right? You don't have to do all 9. Maybe pick top 3 that you're going to look into, developing a bit more or exploring a little bit more to help you as you are transitioning through your career. That's really important. So then we talk about the growth mindset. And this is a concept that was coined by Professor Carol Dweck at Stanford University. It's about how we learn and how we adapt. And typically, what you want to be doing is operating, in the green zone. Okay, not the red zone, in the green zone. What this means is that you have a growth mindset, and when you make mistake, you learn. So you look at mistakes, you said, of course, I don't want to make mistake. And I think this is something that, again, I'm going to stereotype, but I'm talking about myself and maybe people in my family and my community. As a Black people, we like not to make mistake because, how we've been brought up is mistake is a bad thing, right? Failure is really bad. We don't like to fail. Feedback, I remember earlier on in my career, I hated feedback because for me, the way feedback was done to me, it was not constructive. Okay. So some of you may have received feedback that is absolutely not constructive at all. And as a Black person, sometimes you're in an environment where it's not very diverse. Okay. So the way the feedback is given to you, the delivery, it's not how you're used to receiving feedback. Remember, if you've been a high achiever all your life, the feedback you've received is well done, great A's. You've not received failure as a feedback at all. So in a work environment, depending on where you're working, sometimes organizations see feedback as a valuable asset and it's really great. But if you're an individual who is a high achiever, who is not really used to being given feedback, positive feedback, or sorry, if you've not been given like improvement feedback, the idea that someone is giving you feedback, it's like a critique, and then you start, you pull up the tape. This is showing my age a little bit, but you show, you pull up this, this voice that starts saying negative things, right? Saying, oh, you're not smart, or you've made mistake again. And it just start telling you all the things that are in the red, and therefore you end up being really, self-conscious, and it's kind of like start doubting your own ability. And as a result, that then affects your confidence. And what happens when your confidence is low? Your performance might suffer. Yeah. So it's really critical that when you receive those feedback from people that that are in position of power, that you see the feedback as a gift, and you say, yeah, thank you. But you don't have to apply everything that has been said to you. Make sure that you have other people that you can balance out this feedback you're receiving. Yeah. When you have a growth mindset, you might say, you have a growth and you want to keep growing. So you do a piece of work, you say, yeah, this is good, but I will improve on this. Yeah. You might encounter challenges and you might think, oh my goodness, I want to give up. Especially for those that are applying for roles at the moment. You might be like thinking, I just need to give up. I can't keep going. I can't keep applying for jobs and not hearing anything, or I can't go for this interview and receive nothing, right? Like you're not off getting the job offers. I would encourage you, don't give up, right? Keep pursuing your dreams, get the feedback, get skilled. You might have to change your direction, right? It's not a straight line. Careers are not a straight line anymore. So you might need to be a bit creative, but remember to use the community, within the BYP, to network with others, to see whether there's others in a similar position as you, and also sometimes see what you can offer others, right? We're very good when we go into networking environment to just take, but I'm saying try and give back as well. Yeah. So your mindset is important. Having a growth mindset versus having a fixed mindset. So the difference is when you have a fixed mindset is like, I don't make mistake. I don't fail. I am who I am. This is me. And I think sometimes we see that we are working in an environment where people have a fixed mindset. And I probably need to talk about the stereotypes, right? And the biases that we as Black professionals face. Um, you know, we face this stereotype because people have a fixed mindset, right? So for us, instead of aligning ourselves with those stereotypes, we should not even waste our time. Yeah, we cannot change people. That's what one of the things that I've learned in my 22 years of my career is that we can't change people. So the only thing we can do is focus and keep our energy in the green zone, in the growth mindset. So you can say to yourself, yes, I have failed, I learn, right? If they give me feedback, I will take the feedback or I will leave it. Yeah. So really learn to harness the power of the growth mindset and to believe that you have the power to control and influence what is happening around you. Yeah. So that's that on the mindset. So I wanted to talk about, give you opportunity to have some kind of discussions and questions. We're now halfway, through this session. So the questions I want to really know from you is, which challenges are you facing, or what challenges are you facing in your career? Which competency resonated with you? What's your mindset when you think about the challenges that that you're going through at the moment? Do you tend to be somebody who is very fixed? Or do you feel like, yeah, I have a growth mindset? Because having the two mindset will determine how you bounce back, right, from some of the challenges that you're facing in your career, but also how you transition from where you are. So, for example, if you've said to yourself, I have been an accountant, I have trained as an accountant, and I want to find a job as an accountant, right? But you've applied, nothing is coming. What should you do? Right? Maybe you should flex. Maybe you think, okay, what are the transferable skills that I have? Yeah. So that's the difference here. So you could really use this growth mindset in lots of different ways. Yeah. So I think if I can just, it would be really good to get some conversation going, but I'm also conscious of that we're recording. So I think I'll come back to this. Let me just show you the last few slides and we'll come back to this and have a really good conversation around this. Okay. But do think about these questions. Okay. What are the challenges that you're facing? Remember, I am a coach, so I can give you coaching right now as well. And I also want to know about, which of the competencies shared resonate with you and what are the mindset. Okay, so maybe I can, what should I do? Let's go back to this slide. So let me hear from people. So I'm just trying to, okay, I'm gonna read what is in the chat. Okay, good evening. Okay, so Thomas, let me just see people are where people are from. Fantastic. Okay, we've got people from London. Excellent. Leeds, good evening. USA, fantastic. Okay. Excellent. Okay, there's some questions here. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. I need my glasses, so bear with me. This is what happens when you get older. You need glasses to see you on screen, right? And this doesn't actually work very well. So yeah, okay, fantastic. Okay. Excellent. So, okay. Fantastic. So do we have anyone that wants to share challenges that they're facing or want to make any comment on what we've discussed so far? I think you're allowed to put yourself on unmute. Is that correct, Blessing? Can they unmute themselves and speak?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Okay, I'm not, because I'm sharing the screen, so I can't see if there's any hand raised. Can you see any hand raised?
None for now.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, Faith, and to the rest of the BYP network membership. For the discussion questions, I think right now the challenges I'm facing in my career would be finding that right role. I am open. I am an accountant by profession, so I'm a chartered certified accountant. I actually did the UK exams while I was in the Caribbean, but right now I'm in the US working, and I think that the challenges I'm facing right now is finding that right job, and that also accepts my UK designation, and I am looking at different roles. So I'm looking at an auditor role, a strictly financial reporting and auditor role, as well as looking at assistant controller role. And I'm also being flexible and open to moving to a different state or different state, or even probably even a different country. So I'm still stuck.
Yes.
So I guess
Yeah.
that's the challenges that I'm facing right now.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you've highlighted the importance of, being flexible, and I think that that's really important. The other thing is your strategy. So how are you going about trying to find these opportunities? How are you utilizing your network, your connections, and really just leaning on them to kind of help you as well, identify what opportunity that might be. The other option is to look at, is there such thing as a conversion, so that you can align easily to the US requirements for your profession. Because sometimes you might have to do that. It looks like a step back, but if it means, a step back to go forward faster, then that might be another strategy that you might have to explore. So I would say that keep a positive, keep a positive mindset, keep smiling. You sounded like somebody who was like, yeah, I have this challenge, but I'm going to do all I can to kind of, you know, see my career take off and to get to the right place. So I think that's what you can do, really, just focus on that. The other option is also think about what other stream of income can you invent while you are trying to launch your ideal career. What other things can you do, whether that's volunteering or getting involved with other activities that interest you. Because again, sometimes when we are focusing on our ideal role, it can be a very lonely journey, right? It can be a very lonely journey. So trying to do other things, whether that's for income or volunteering, it will give you that sense of purpose while you're in that that transition phase. So keep a positive mindset and keep reaching out to your connections. Use LinkedIn, use a BYP network. I know they have the app, so try and use that to see how you can really connect with others as well. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. And yeah,
So just to add to that, so with the exam. So I am also working towards sitting the US CPA exams as well too. So I'm making that try once more, because I did try before and I just missed one exam, and so therefore I'm still doing that. Still in that process. But I understand, and I think the idea of the other stream of income, that's definitely something I'll be also looking into, and thanks for that.
yeah, no, well, yeah, no, definitely. I would say explore that. Just think about, what is, I recently went to an event and they said, and apologies, I don't mean to offend anyone here, but like they talked about, God has given all of us a special gift, right? And sometimes what we've taken for granted, like, so for example, for me, I love to talk, and for years I just talked and talked, right? But actually, I am making a living as a speaker. And and for all of you, I'm sure you can be a speaker, or you can talk about something if you like talking, or you can do something that is really will bring you joy, right? There's a book called The Ikigai, right? I would highly recommend if you're somebody who, you have your profession, but things are not working out and you're kind of in that phase. check out the book called The Ikigai, and it talks about finding joy and purpose. So sometimes, even when you're still in that transition phase, you can find things that really brings you joy, whether that's singing, whether that's dancing. You can find something. And I would say that in the world that we're living in right now, try and recognize the challenges that you have and recognize what you can do about it. What are within your control? What is outside your control? And who else can be on that journey with you? So don't wait until you're in an organization to get to appoint yourself a mentor, a coach, a sponsor. You can have all those people, in your life while you're trying to get back into work, right? So look around your circle of friends, who can be a mentor for you, who can be a sponsor, who do you need to be having coffee with? Where do you need to be hanging out to really make sure that you are putting yourself in the right environment to grow, but also to be resilient during this transitional phase. Okay, so a blessing question: what is the one practical approach we can implement on a short term to get results? Right. So you talked about everybody's okay. So you said in many career coaching session, you hear a lot about positivity, confidence, growth mindset. I think for me, what you can do in the short term is really self-awareness, right? So everybody should know what their key strengths are. Everybody should know what areas of improvement they need to work on. And that could just be even your approach. So things like, making sure that your LinkedIn profile is up to date and is representing your brand, is representing who you are. It's really, really important. What is the other thing you can do in the short term? We spend all day long talking to ourselves, right? So the one short thing you can do from now is listening to that inner voice, right? So the moment that you start hearing a lot of self-critique come in, that's, you're not being positive, you're not being confident, you're not operating from a growth mindset. Yeah. So almost like be in a place where you can recognize for yourself that, there's a lot of negativity that I'm, like, would I say this to a friend? Yeah. That is one thing you can actually say to yourself about checking in about your mindset is when you have that inner critic voice, ask yourself, would I say this to a friend? And if you wouldn't, then be kind to yourself and don't keep repeating this, the same narrative to yourself. So that's a quick way in the short term that are really practical is identifying where your mindset is and how you're feeling. And of course, I'm not saying, wake up every day and sing a song, even when it's raining and gray, like here in England. No, I'm just saying, be really intentional and be really aware of what is affecting you. So it could be like, for example, I get affected by the weather, right? So, so I know that for myself. Then when I have like low energy or I'm not my cheerful self, I know what is causing that. So I'm not saying you have to be positively for the sake of it, but I think you should be aware. Be aware of what gives you energy, what takes away your energy, a lot of comparison. So like, for example, if you spend all your time looking at LinkedIn and everyone's positive post and everyone's announcing they've won awards and they've been promoted, I mean, that is not going to do you any good if you're not in the same place, right? So it's about recognizing the triggers, recognizing what affects your positivity or your confidence and doing something about it. Yeah. So that's a very long answer to that question. I think there was a question again about what is the author of the Ikigai. I need to find it. So maybe Blessing, you can do a quick search for me while we carry on. But we'll give you that author's name before we finish. Any other questions or comments? Maybe I can go back to the competency. Which of the competency has resonated with people? Hang on a minute, sorry. So these were the competencies that I shared. Any questions on this or any comments about how to apply it to your own current situation, please do ask. I want this to be as interactive as possible. No? Okay. I will assume no comment means we can continue. Okay. So maybe what I could share with you then is this thing called positive intelligence. I talked a lot about it, what I mentioned already here for you, but it's really a tool that helps with mental fitness. Okay. So mental fitness is almost like, imagine we've got physical fitness. Yeah, we understand the concept. You know, if you want to get a six pack, you work out, you do a workout. You know, if you want to lose weight, you eat well and you do a workout, right? We understand that. But for many years, this idea that we can actually affect our mind, like we can control our mind. I think for many people, we've just been very reactive. We've grown up being shaped by the environment that we're in, the culture that we're in, the people that we have in our lives, or the environment, the things that are happening, and we just keep reacting. But the new concept around mental fitness, or the tool called the positive intelligence, is actually to say that you can actually be so present in your life on a day-to-day basis that you can influence your action, right? You can influence your relationship with people because of how you are, you being, really present. And you can see, you can maybe reflect on people that you know in your life that are very calm, people that are very intentional. So I imagine you go into a networking event, you know, you interact with so many different people, but you might encounter someone who has a calmness about them, who looks you in the eye, if that's culturally what they're doing, but who's really, like, you can see and feel that they're present. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about here. So positive intelligence, or the mental fitness, is the ability to be present in a moment. Yeah. Now, by practicing positive intelligence, it allows you to really get to a place where you can navigate challenges and changes in your life really well. Yeah, you'll be able to do that because you understand what holds you back. So I gave an example before of being high achiever. He works, but then it can also work against you. Yeah. So when you're a high achiever and you're not getting the results you want, it is very frustrating. Yeah. But sometimes you just have to learn for yourself that, oh, I just need to take my leg off. Yeah. The accelerator. So I just need to kind of like slow down. Yeah. If I'm not getting, instead of going faster and faster and faster and not going anywhere, sometimes you might just say, I'm just going to take a break, right? I'm going to take a day or two away from applying for jobs, or I'm going to do something different, right? But you're going to have the mental fitness to, and capacity to know how to do that, how to adjust, right? In life. So I think there might be a question here. I'm going to look in the chat if there is one. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Blessing, thank you. I was not preparing myself to talk about the secret, of a lovely life, having a great life. But that just came as an example because it's very important when you're navigating change and your career to put things into perspective, right? It's a season that you're going through, and you will come out of it, be positive. Okay, so let me just go here then. So in terms of conclusion, I'm going to talk about conclusion, and then we can have more questions if you do have. But just be ready and prepared for a changing world. Okay. Definitely change your approach. Use the connections that you have within the BYP. Use LinkedIn to really network with people. If there are people that you've worked with or studied with before, drop them an email. Just say, can we just have a 15 minutes, virtual coffee? And that's how you can, navigate your career. When I was in the Shell organization, I started my career as a graduate for 3 years. It was very clear. They mapped out, okay, you're going to stay in this role for 15 months, then you're going to move to that department. But then after 3 years, you were on your own, right? So in a big organization like Shell, I had to navigate my career. I had to network with people in other departments. And it was just by being courageous. So having courage and confidence to say, I am looking for a new opportunity, or what I'm doing is not working. What other ideas do you have? Yeah. So look at it as it is just a short-term challenge, and you will rise above it. Yeah. So networking is important. Connecting with other people is important. Embrace the core competency that I've shared with you, and have a growth mindset. And then, of course, we talk about it, you need the IQ, emotional intelligence, and the PQ to navigate the challenging landscape confidently, creatively, and compassionately. You see, I put the word creatively because there isn't a one size fit all. Yeah. We had a question from the US. I can't say to you, do X, Y, Z, and you'll get the result that you want. But it just means you be creative the way that you can, but be compassionate as well. Really, be kind to yourself. Have a break if you need to have a break. Do things that make, bring you joy, whether that's watching Netflix, or, going out with friends. But remind yourself that work is just a small portion of your life. It's not every part of it, even though it does contribute a lot in terms of financial, well-being, and so financial status, or your identity is wrapped up in work. But just remind yourself to, be kind to yourself and have that compassion. The way you treat a friend, the advice you'd give a friend, give that advice to yourself as well, because that's the only way you're going to, emerge stronger from these challenging times. Yeah. And then I just want to give you another chance if you have any questions or comment. Okay, you did speak about getting a mentor. How best can one go about this? Okay, so Thomas, thank you for your question. So first of all, everybody should have a mentor. Okay, everyone on this call, you all need to get yourself a mentor. Who is a mentor, and what are they, and what do they do? So I'll break it down a little bit. A mentor is somebody who you feel comfortable with. Okay, so this is why I always advocate that you must find yourself a mentor. If someone gives you a mentor, which sometimes works in organization, yeah. So sometimes you're in an organization and they say, "Oh, we've identified a mentor for you," right? And then you meet the mentor for a coffee or lunch or something, or have a call with them, and you just realize, no, I don't like this person. There's nothing, we can't connect, even though somebody thought it was a good idea. That is not a good mentor. So a mentor is somebody who inspires you. A mentor is somebody who has walked the same path, maybe similar path as you. And especially as a Black professional, I would say, if you can, and you have access to a Black person who has gone through a journey, so they might be like a Black leader, or ideally that you want them to be in the same either industry, sector, or organization, because then you can talk to them about the challenges you're facing, and they can give you practical solutions or strategies, because they have a bit of knowledge. So the mentor is somebody who, there's some similarity with what you're doing or what you want to do to, who they are or where they have been. Yeah. So there needs to be that connection. But then also you need to like that mentor, and you need to set, be very intentional. So if you find somebody you want them to be your mentor, tell them why you want them to be your mentor. What are you expecting from them? Is it career guidance? Is it you want them to, to mentor you on how to succeed in something, right? So be very specific, and also how often you want to meet with your mentor. Is it once a month? Is it bi-monthly? Is it quarterly? And what what are you expecting from that mentoring relationship? So be very clear, so that they know that this is something that that they can commit to as well, and then you drive that relationship. So mentors will expect you to be the person that will set up the meeting, that will initiate, those meetings, yeah, because most mentors might be very senior and very busy. So you need to really be, prepare yourself when you meet with your mentor. I hope that answered the question. I think mentor, you can just find people that you've worked with, or ask people in your network to appoint a mentor for you. but have a criteria what you're looking for in that mentor. So for example, for myself, throughout my career, I had different type of mentors. When I was doing my MBA, I had mentors who had done an MBA. So therefore they can say to me, oh yeah, this is what I did, or this is what you need to do. As a business owner, I have also a mentor, people that have gone through, scaled their businesses. So I can ask them questions and they can give me practical solutions. Yeah. So, and it doesn't have to be forever. The mentors I tend to have are for 12 months. And then after that, you just say, thank you. Let's keep in touch, right? And you can have more than one mentor as well. Yeah. So that's very, very, very important. Okay, so great. That was a good question. I've got also another one here. Thank you, Faith. I have a question about freelance. Can freelancing be considered a career transition? Yeah, why not? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because I'm sure that before you did the freelancing, you were doing something else. So, and then career transitioning could be from being fully employed to now being contracting or freelancing or to being self-employed. That also has its different way as well. So definitely, yeah, for sure. Another question, and also, what is the best way to handle? This is where my glasses. I need help. Can someone read this question for me?
Okay,
Blessing.
the question is,
My glasses, I can't even see the question. So the question is,
what is the best way to handle self-doubt or fear of failure when stepping into a new role?
Okay. I'm laughing at myself. I told people I can't even. I've got. I don't know what these glasses are for. Sorry. Don't go to Specsavers. So the question here was very good. So how best to handle failure? Oh, I think that feeling of failures. I think what you fear becomes your reality. Okay. Let me say that again. What you fear becomes your reality. So rather than focusing on the fear, focus on what is it, the fear of failure. Focus on what you need to do. So when you go into a new role, give yourself 3 months. Yeah. Don't walk in there like you're the expert, because you could be the expert, but you're setting yourself up to fail. Yeah. By assuming you know everything. So actually be gracious to yourself. Have that patience to say, be clear on the deliverable. So the one way that you can get rid of your fear of failure is to understand what you're required to do from day one, right? Have a meeting with your line manager and ask them, what are the targets in this role? What are you expecting from me? And they might just say, we just want you to be onboarded, or we want you to, so it might be, so for you, you might not be delivering tangible results, but your attitude, your timekeeping, how friendly you are, how, the questions that you ask, that is actually, that could be seen in a positive way. Yeah. So sometimes you need to actually for yourself understand what is failing. Yeah. So if you're fearing failure, what is that? Is that like you're going to be fail, like you're not going to succeed? What is failure? So define failure, right? But the most important thing is get out of your own head. Yeah. Remove yourself from your own head and make sure that you are asking questions, you're being positive. Yeah. Can we stay in touch with you on LinkedIn? Of course you can, Thomas. Everybody stay in touch with me on LinkedIn. I will, also with yourselves. If you don't know each other, do, connect with yourself here. You've gone to my next slide actually. But, do connect with me. If you want me to send you the positive intelligence assessment, drop me an email. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I was going to tell you this before. This is like my nearly the second slide. Sorry. Second last slide. So this is Nelson Mandela, one of, I think, all of our godfather, really, in terms of inspirational leader. He talked about, he learned that he has learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Yeah. The brave man is not the one who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So what that is speaking into those self-doubts that we feel, is speaking about the fear of failure. Yeah. Remember, if you have a growth mindset, what happened when you fail? You learn. Yeah. So when you have a growth mindset, you see failure as an opportunity to learn. As long as no one dies, I always say this: when you're failing, as long as no one is dying, you are learning and you're improving and you're growing. And you need to have that inner resilience to see that failure is not the end of the world. but you recover from it and you become a more resilient person. And then, yes, you can definitely stay in touch with me. Please go and watch my TEDx talk. I talk about self-confidence. So you can just Google Faith Root or TEDx and you can watch it for me. I need lots of followers on there. Connect with me on LinkedIn, email me, visit my website, follow me on Instagram. But really, very importantly, going into 2025, if I can be of any service to you, grab 30 minutes for free. Yeah, I give that for everybody as a gift. Just book a session with me and just speak about, your challenges that you're going through and see what I can do to really help you. Right. But it's end of my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing. I don't know if we have any more questions or comments, but do stay in touch. And I want to hand you back over to the team. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Faith.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure everyone enjoyed the presentation, and obviously thank you for joining us this evening. As Blessing mentioned, it will be on YouTube, so a recording of this can be looked at obviously after the session. And yeah, again, thank you, and I hope you have a nice evening.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.